Hi, I'm Johnny Smathers. I met Alex in January of 2010. We both went to a small boarding school in Massachusetts, and when I arrived there, Alex was cleaning this table with like a spray bottle, and he had this cardboard sign around his neck, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I had just gotten to this school, and it said something along the lines of, I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting my parents' money. I need to grow up and change. And so I was already like, who is this guy and what is this place? What am I getting into? And I mean, that was a really good introduction to that school because it was very intense, very difficult, but everyone was very real. And Alex went through his struggles there for sure. And I think that's what bonded me so close to him, was in our struggles. And I mean, there were times where, you know, he was almost asked to leave, and he just never gave up, just never. And I mean, he was such a good person and such a old soul, I guess is the way to say it. And I think Kylan said it right. Like, people just radiated to him like a moth to a bonfire. It's like totally it. And I don't think he knew how to deal with that very well, and it was just always there. And I think it took a long time for him to realize what care was and that people did care about him, and he spent a long time kind of battling himself with that notion, I guess. And it wasn't until I think the last year, maybe year and a half, that he really started to understand that and understand that people cared about him. And it doesn't surprise me that so many people are here today, because that was just the type of person he is, or he was. And I don't know, I think the fact that he touched so many people's lives as a child, and then even in some of his darker years, it's just amazing to me. And I mean, he brought me out here around this time, and it was kind of, he had already told me all about Shoreline and pretty much everything, and I was kind of just filling in the I guess conceptual idea of Shoreline with the visual Shoreline. And returning here a year later is difficult and not how I wanted to come back to Shoreline if I were going to come back. But it is amazing to see all these people like coming here and reaching out to him and sharing and being a part of this. And I think what really sucks about this is just what he was going to become, because I was at a school with kids that were, I mean, there were a lot of really brilliant people at this school, and I mean, Alex could run laps around all of them. And I'm not just saying that because I know people usually just say that when somebody passes away, like, oh, he's so smart. Like, this guy was really freaking smart. Like, blew teachers out of the water that were Rhodes Scholars, and that was just the way he was. And a girl scanned all of his artistic writings and paintings and drawings and stuff, and she put them in a Dropbox, and I've been looking at those a lot lately, and it's really interesting to watch even his ability to create change over the 2-3 years he was there to where he left off. Our relationship was, I mean, it wasn't tumultuous, but we certainly had ups and downs in it. And I remember at one point he was really reaching the end at Dewey, the school we were at, and he thought he was going to have to call it quits. And he came to me and just said, like, I'm going to quit. And I just told him, like, you're not allowed to. Like, I just said, that's not fair to me. And I don't know what happened, but he pulled it through and just started soaring. And this spring I was kind of in a similar situation. And he just was there for me. And he was like, you pulled me out of the mud, I'm pulling you out. And I talked to him. We hadn't talked for a month before he went out to Micronesia for different reasons, but the last week I talked to him 3 or 4 times, and the last time he was still kind of angry at me about some decisions I had made. rightfully so. And he wrote me this letter in an email, and he was just encouraging me to look at kind of what I was going through and just stare right at it. Like, don't turn the lights off and pretend it's not there. Just stare directly at it and understand it and be okay with it and move forward from it. And he said some really encouraging things. Two of the things that stuck out to me the most was he told me that I was his brother, and that meant a lot to me, and that still does. And the other thing he told me was he put forward a scenario if he were to die, and this was the day before he passed away. He said, if I were to die, the pain would not subside, it would endure, and you have to let those kind of things endure. And I just feel like he's kind of like walking me through even this from like a different place, and that's how I felt going through a lot of his writings. Stuff when he's talking about Debbie's death, his aunt, it's just right there, and it's, I don't know, it's just like a lovely person, and he's kind of become a part of my conscience. Like, when I make decisions, I have to think, like, I have to kind of check with him, and if that's a gift he can give me, then that's a great gift, and I think that's something he can do for anyone who knew him in a somewhat intimate way. But I think what Kylan's father said he would have loved to hear, because I know he cared about a lot of you guys that he went to school with, and in his transformation, he was really struggling with how to relate to these people that he still loved a lot and be there for them in a different way. A lot of people at the school we were at, like, will say, he's a changed person or she's a changed person when they leave, but he was very adamant that that wasn't true. He was still the same person. He just didn't know himself before. And it wasn't like he was just this totally new guy that you guys wouldn't know. If he walked, you'd know exactly who he was, from his smile to his laugh to whatever, his goofiness. He just, I don't know, grew up a lot. And it was intimidating. Like, he always kind of scared me a little bit. But it was like a good scary, I guess. But I just want to say, like, thank you for coming out. And I'm from Washington, D.C., so it's a long trip to get here, but I knew I needed to be here. But I feel really, I don't know, grateful to be here and be here with people that cared about him and family. And I feel, in some weird way, like I just feel a little bit at home in Shoreline now. And I don't know. Thank you.